What's going on, guys? It's the Honda Baron. Today's video, I want to talk about the weather. You know, the sun is lower in the sky, the leaves are falling, it's getting a bit cooler out here in Southern Ontario. You know, I think it dipped down below 10 degrees last night. It's getting a bit chilly, one might say. That brings me to winter riding. And in today's video, I want to talk about when you should put your bike away from the winter, if at all. If you live somewhere where, you know, where it snows, where it does dip below freezing. That's what I want to talk about. So let's hop on the bike. Let's get out of here. Oh, Jesus. All right. Check out that old mill, huh? Little neat historic thing. Alright, so here in Hamilton, where I'm from, right in the heart of Southern Ontario, it's getting a bit cold. You know, we're nearing the end of September. Some people I know have already put their bikes away, and it's not as nice as it once was for riding. You know, now it's dark by 7:30, compared to 9:30 just a few months ago. It's chilly in the morning. You know, kids are back in school, everyone's busy, and winter's approaching, you guys. Winter is coming. It snows every year, but that doesn't mean you can't quit riding. You know, the snow is coming, the cold weather is coming, the freezing temperatures are coming. And I want to talk about when you should put your bike away for the winter, if at all. I'll start off, you guys. Start it off about me. I don't put my bike away. You know, it's not carbureted. It's a Honda. This thing will start at -40. No big deal. Do I ride at -40? No. Do I ride at, you know, -5 or higher? Heck yeah, I ride at -5 or higher. Should you ride at -5 or higher? I don't know. That's based on how comfortable you are in cold weather, what upgrades you've done to the bike to make it easier to ride in the winter, and how much of a man you are. No, I'm just kidding. Riding in the cold weather isn't that fun, guys. Anyways, when should you put your bike away for the winter? Well, ultimately it depends, you know. Carbureted bikes, for starters, need to go away a little bit earlier. You know, they're harder to start with the cold weather, a bit harder to manage, and you don't want to be dealing with that if it's cold out and you just want to go for a quick rip. You don't want to be warming up your bike and having to deal with all that BS. Now, there's some carbureted bikes that are going to be okay with the colder weather. Not all of them, some of them. For the most part, if you've got a carbureted bike, not a beautiful, electronically fuel-injected Honda like mine, you're going to probably have to start considering putting your bike away. You know, as the temperatures start to dip below 10, depending on where you store your bike, it's October might be your last month, might be the last few days of riding for you. The other thing to consider is how comfortable you are on the bike in colder temperatures. Now, if you don't have wind deflectors, if you don't have good gloves, if you don't have heated grips, which I am going to install soon enough, if you don't have that, you know, if you don't have, you know, either warm weather gear or cold weather riding gear or heated gear, once it gets below 20, you guys, it's kind of chilly on the bike, you know, especially if you're not in the sun. If you're riding at night or in the early morning and it's like 16 degrees, like I was out in August and it was like 15 degrees and I'm riding on the highway at 120. Guys, it was cold. I got to where I was going, I was so cold I had to stop and get a coffee just to warm up. Yeah, the sun came out. Yeah, it was 30 degrees that day, but in just summer gear, you guys, I was cold at those temps, and I was wishing I had installed the heated gear, or the heated grips, and that was August. And now in October, as you know, approaching the end of September, you know, as we get into October, here in Southern Ontario, we're looking at nighttime lows of about, you know, 8 to 15, with daytime highs about 15 to 20. If you're further north, like if you're like in Aurelia, Huntsville, North Bay, like they've already had frost warnings, and for a lot of people that live up there, like that's it. Season's already over for I think a lot of riders. So at that point of the year, you know, if you don't want to be cold, if you don't have a bike that's going to handle the cold very well, you know, if you don't have the right gear, then October is probably when you're going to want to put the bike away. After, you know, mid-October, there's not too many warm, you know, comfortable riding days where it's going to be, you know, over 20, perfectly sunny and dry. You know, it rains a lot. You don't want to ride when it's cold and raining, and it's just easier to put it away rather than take the battery off the tender, you know, do all that. You want to get the winterization done and forgotten about until the spring. Now, if you're someone that puts their bike away in October, I would imagine you're probably not riding until what, April at the earliest. You know, even that is kind of pushing it when it comes to cold weather. So May, and that gives you what, May, June, July, August, September, 6-month riding season. So you got 6 months on, 6 months off. I couldn't handle that personally, but for some people, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Not everybody wants to ride in the cold. That's their preference. Depending on where you live, it's going to be October that you're going to want to put your bike away. You're going to want to winterize it or bring it in somewhere to get stored, and that's no big deal. Now, if you did want to ride a little bit further into the season, we don't get the first big snowfall here until about December, and it's mostly stopped snowing by the end of March. Yes, we're gonna have snowstorm, you know, we're gonna have some snow in November, it happens. Yes, it's gonna snow in April, it can snow in May, it happens. But for the most part, mid-December to near the end of March is the bulk of our, it's a bulk of our winter season. So if you did have heated grips, if you did have warmer gear, if you still want to be, you know, a little bit more comfortable while you were riding, you know, you're willing to put up with a bit of cold, but you got all the right gear, you could push it from, you could definitely push it into December, and you can start riding sometime in March semi-regularly, depending on what you're willing to endure. And that really gives you a more of an 8-month riding window, which is respectable here in Southern Ontario. Now I know a lot of guys do it, you know, well depending on where you're from, that might not even be possible. I'm just basing it all on my experience here. And a lot of guys do it, you know, I'll be out in December, I'll be out in March, I'll see guys on their bikes going for rips. People do it. It's not unheard of, and it's not exactly uncommon either. People are always looking for excuses to ride here if it's like the slightest bit of warm weather. And now if you're a hardcore rider, if you want to ride all year, unfortunately you'll probably still need to own a car here in Southern Ontario. This is one of the warmest places in the province. This is one of the warmest places in the province. You'll still need a car because sometimes there'll just be weeks, you know, 1 week, 2 weeks with just a ton of snow on the ground, or it'll be -40 where you'll need a lot of gear to stay warm at those temperatures. And do you really want to be sitting in traffic? Do you really want to be stuck in all this bullshit when it's -40? I don't, and I love riding in the winter. I think it's a blast. It definitely can be done safely. You know, there's a lot of BS about how tires stop working at like -5 or, you know, 5 degrees. Guys, I don't know what tires you're using. I was taking my bike out last year, my old CBR 300R. I was taking that out -10, hitting the twisties -10, -5. Cold, dark twisties, I was fine, but those are good tires, you know, they're good commuting tires. That's, I think it was like the Michelin Pilots, I think that's what I had on, and they were fine in the cold weather. This guy's beating me, look at this. Yeah, if you're like a hardcore rider, you could go out at -40. You really don't need, like, I think with maybe $1,000, you could be kitted out in some great winter riding gear. You know, you got $100 for the heated grips. You guys, you can buy heated seats. You can buy heated jackets now. You know, you can buy amazing boots. You can buy everything heated. I think even like the Harley comes with that stuff. Like, you can buy bikes that come with heated seats. Like, to me, that's crazy. You can buy all that, and I think with all that gear, it's not going to be too uncomfortable if you're on the road, right? Especially like above 0 or, you know, above -10, depending on what you're personally comfortable with. Now here in Southern Ontario, I would argue that overall, in total, there's maybe 1 month, like in total, spread across the winter. Thank you. Thanks, boss. Yeah, I think in total there's maybe like 1 total month that you wouldn't be able to ride here in Southern Ontario where there's too much snow or if it's too cold. So that gives you 11-month riding season if you're a hardcore badass like me. I don't commute. Guys, don't get me wrong, I don't commute when it's that cold. I just go for rides like on the weekends or after work, you know. I'm too much of a wimp to be commuting at those times when it's that kind of weather. I've seen people do it though. I saw this guy on a KLR 650 last year. I think it was like -20. There was snow on the ground, and this guy was making his way to Toronto. You know, to me, good for that guy, right? The biggest thing to look out for when it comes to winter riding is black ice, right? But if you, depending on the time of the day you ride, you can avoid that. And the other issue is salt and the other chemicals they use on the road for clearing away the ice and snow. Here in Ontario, they use like a mix. It's like a blend of salt and like other not so great chemicals. And this is really going to eat away at your bike. If you are planning on winter riding, especially when the salt's on the road, you don't want to be taking something like super nice, right? You don't want to be taking your $20,000 Harley or, you know, $15,000 Honda Africa Twin out for rips when there's a load of salt on the ground. And the other, because it's going to be eating away at your bike, it's going to eat away at your chain. It becomes more of a hassle than it's worth, because you got to wipe your bike down, at least hose it down when you get back to prevent any rust from building up, and that's a big pain in the ass. It's a good idea, especially here in Southern Ontario, to get like a beater bike, like a winter beater, that you don't mind, you know, hosing down every so often, or you don't mind if the chain gets rusty. I actually want to get a beater, maybe like a CRF 250L or a Yamaha WR 250R. Having those as winter beaters, you know, with like knobby tires, so you could really take it out on the snow. That would be a blast. And the other issue with salt is you'll find it in the corners, like on the road. If you go to make a turn, you'll see like all the salt just sitting there in the road, because like the cars, you know, push it into piles, and it can be kind of dangerous depending on what time of year you're riding and how much salt is left on the road. And I know a lot of people, when they start riding again in the spring, they'll wait for like a few good rains to, you know, quote, wash away all the salt. I don't know, I'll just hose the bike down. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so basically when it comes to winter riding and, you know, when it's time to put the bike away, depends on your personal preferences, kind of like what you're able to handle. If you have like the right gear and heated grips, and, you know, it depends on the bike too. You don't want a bike that's, you know, you're fully exposed to the elements. You might be a bit cold. But yeah, guys, it really basically depends. I like to ride every month. I don't think a week went by, except for after my accident last year, that I didn't actually ride. It's all preference. If you want to ride 6 months of the year, we got a beautiful 6 months of summer, so why not take full advantage of it? And if you want to put your bike away, that's good as well. So really, there's no need to put your bike away for the winter. Depending on who you are, you can get 6 months of riding. Might have to put it away for 4 months, maybe just 1 month. That is my opinion on the matter. Thought I'd share with you guys a quick video about winter riding. And yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and make sure to click on that subscribe button to keep up to date with future videos. And always, you guys, thank you for watching. Wherever you are, have a wonderful day or wonderful night, and we'll see you in the next video.